Welcome to Neutral Voices. This is Voice of the People, and we got a voice in the studio with us tonight, a voice that we are all familiar with, and we're just going to get right into it. Our guest this evening is the legend of Fort Wayne radio, Mr. Geno Burgess. How you doing, Geno?
I'm good. You guys are calling me a legend?
You are a legend.
Okay.
Man, you've been on from, let's start, Foxy.
Uh-huh.
You were Foxy. Then you transitioned to Hot 107.9. And now you're at B96.3.
I'm at B96.9.
B96.9.
But I actually, in between there, I worked at WMEE.
Yeah.
I worked at 101. And I also worked at, what was it, JFX? That was the jazz station.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, look at you. Look at you. So
Welcome, Geno.
been on the
So
air
you're
for
saying you're not a legend then?
You know what? I'm gonna use Bobby. Actually, right before Bobby Caldwell died, I found a quote that he gave. Because the guy said, "Hey, you're a legendary performer." He goes, "What do you think about people calling you legendary?" He goes, "You know what? I don't pay any attention to that. I think that's for after I'm gone."
Oh,
And then,
wow.
Then he passed like
Yeah.
the next week. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But we,
Hold on, we don't
You
want
said
you
we don't
to
want
pass.
to.
we don't want you to go
No,
too
no,
I don't
soon.
want you to go there.
No.
But the thing
Put that
about
on.
it is to give you your flowers
Absolutely.
while you still here. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna hand you your crown because you actually was the voice of the city before there was a real voice of the city.
Yes.
That's right.
That's
So
true.
I mean,
You know this.
I'm gonna
Geno.
hand you your crown, bro.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But while we're talking, give us a little. How did you get started in radio? How did you find your voice and be able to be a radio personality?
You know what? It's a long time ago. I actually, when I was in college, I was playing. I wasn't going to class. I was like, why am I really here? And actually, they had a student-run station. I went to the University of Alaska Fairbanks. They had a student-run station. I said, you know what? Let me see what this is about, because they were asking people to come in to volunteer to work on the station. So I made an appointment with the program director. It was a Friday afternoon. So I go to do this, and we sit down. He's going to interview me. And they had what they would do is during the day, they had like this big 6-hour reel-to-reel tape that they would play during the day. And so that tape was on, and as soon as we sat down, that tape snapped. It broke, right? So he goes, hey, what are you doing? I said, you got any classes? I said, no, I'm good. I'm free. He goes, come with me. He takes me in the studio. He goes, this is turntable 1. This is turntable 2. Here's the mic. Here's the headphones. Our library's right behind you. If you can just keep music going on until about 4 o'clock. It was 1 o'clock then. I'll be back. I'll relieve you, and I'll be grateful to you forever. I'm like, okay. So I did that. I was just singing from music to music, right, back and forth, just kind of playing whatever I pulled off the shelves. And I think about 3 o'clock, I turned the mic on. I said, hello. Heard it in the headphones. Turned it back off. Just played music. That's the only thing I ever said. But we had a meeting the next day, and he asked me to come, and he said, you know what? I'm going to give you a shift. Because he saved me yesterday. So yeah, if you want to work here, you can. So yeah, I did Friday and Saturday nights. But yep, that's how I started.
Oh wow! Look, so you was gifted for it, huh?
If you heard the tape, it'd be kind of rough. The tape was kind of rough. Yeah, they were kind of rough. But you know what? I enjoyed doing it. And I actually had been like enamored with music, like from a kid. My parents still talk about how they had a 45 from Dave Baby Cortez, the Happy Organ, and I made them play that over and over and over because I
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love music. Yeah. Okay.
And that's what I was going to ask you. So, as far as the style of music, because I've heard you play all different types of genres of music, but growing up, which music was the love? I mean, what actually got you so captivated with music?
You know what? It wasn't when I was growing up. I actually didn't really pay any attention to music or radio until I was probably 19, because I didn't grow up in America. My father was military, and we were in Europe, and so I heard Armed Forces radio every now and then, but I didn't really listen to the radio a whole bunch. Then when we moved to New York, WLIB was an AM station with Al G, and I can't remember who the other person was. There was another guy on who was in the middle of the afternoon. He always used to do this bit when he goes, "Who's gonna help save Rosemary's Baby?" And he'd be like, and it was crazy. It didn't make any sense, but he did it every day, and people would wait for that. But I started listening to them, and then that's when I kind of started getting into music and into radio. But yeah.
Wow. So you say Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Germany.
So because your father was in the military,
He was in the Army.
and so all of these places. So you graduated from high school from what?
I graduated from high school, Fairbanks, Alaska.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I heard you say something about Alaska
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
Wow.
long
And
journey
you
from
end up-
Alaska. That's a long journey from
How
Alaska.
you get from Alaska to Fort Wayne?
Okay, actually, when my parents retired, we actually moved to Long Island, New York. I actually got a job in Albany, New York, working for a radio station. And there was a Ebony magazine, and I know it was a February issue, but I can't remember the year. But I read the story. It was about this guy in the Air Force. He was in Japan. He had gone to DINFOS, the Defense Information School. And I said, you know what, let me check that. So I actually found it. It was here in Indianapolis. It was in Indiana at the time. It's not here now anymore. They moved it to Maryland. But I actually called every service. I called the Coast Guard. I called the Army. I called the Marines. I called the Air Force. I called the Navy. Said, hey, I want to come into your service, but I have like some stipulations. What do you mean?
You're gonna give them stipulations.
I did. I said I'm going to go come. It's a 2-year enlistment. I go to DINFOS. It's called the Defense Information School. And I enlist for 2 years. Nope. Actually, at the Navy, they told me you sign up for 6 years. Then if you make it through that, you don't get in any trouble. You can re-up, and then we can see. I said, thanks. I hung up. But finally, the guys from the Army called me and said, you know what? I said, okay, yeah, Mr. Burgess, we'll do that. But you have to pass the audition. Now, I wasn't worried about that because, like I said, I was doing radio already. So they gave me the script. I recorded it, gave it back to him. He called me 2 days later, said, hey, you passed. So come sign your paperwork, and you can go in. So after that, I went to basic training, Fort Dix, New Jersey, came here to Indianapolis for AIT. They trained me, public relations kind of stuff. And then they sent me to Fort Hood, Texas, which was crazy because they trained me to do radio and television, but they had no radio and television station. So they actually,
tricked you.
Well, actually, and when I got there, the captain told me that. He goes, actually, the Army messed you over, man. He goes, they sent you here. What are you going to do? So I had the public affairs officer, Captain Fong was his name. He goes, Burgess, I don't know why they sent you here. He goes, but if you give me like one story a week for the newspaper, I'm good. So I would go and do my story Monday or Tuesday, and I would be off the rest of the week. So that was my military experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't in vain.
No,
Because,
it
I mean,
wasn't.
this is what you've really been working in ever since.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny how things work. Okay, so you've been in this and doing this for a very long time. You have seen a lot of changes, I'll say, in music, in the industry, but even just in Fort Wayne. So how has things changed with the radio, the industry, and music from then to now?
Actually, it's changed a whole bunch. I think one of the issues with radio now is we don't really own anything. I know we have Radio One, but they're kind of struggling.
Right.
They don't really make a lot of money. And so one of the things that I noticed, because I think we've had a conversation. I think you called me one day because you said you heard some music that they were playing.
I did. So let's just put that out there real quick before you go down the road and tell the story, because it was something planned. It could have been Beyonce, and I thought it was inappropriate.
Pressure. I think it was the
Was
song
it pressure?
Pressure.
Well, I
yeah.
called him about
it was
Beyonce
pressure.
too,
Yeah.
but it was Pressure, this particular one. And I called and I was shocked because it was like in the middle of the afternoon, early morning, whatever it was. And so continue, Geno, with this story, because I was really shocked when you said this.
And the problem is the people that are running stations now don't have any history or actually any knowledge of the music. And so, this is a new song. Oh, it's a new song by Beyonce. It's a new song by Pressure is by who? I can't remember.
Ari Lennox.
Ari Lennox, yeah. And she was new, so they were trying to break her. So they would just throw it up and without listening to it. So you have to edit those songs. And that's that's one of the major differences now, because they kind of put anything on. But I also think part of that is part of the plan.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're gonna
now
get
see,
into
that's
that.
where it's going to turn to evil.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
And I'm just saying that because that was our topic last night. But so here I'm calling, and I'm ready to get Geno because I know his style of music. I'm safe listening to Geno Burgess with my dad, and then all of a sudden I hear this song come on. I'm like, wait, hold up, stop the car. I need to call Geno.
You did get me.
I did. I tried to get you, and Geno said He said, "Oh, what song was that? I need to listen to it." He said, "I hadn't checked my lineup for
No,
this."
and I
You
wasn't on
said-
the air though. It was
So my question is this: I know in Fort Wayne, majority of all the radio stations are the top 100
Yeah.
songs, right?
Top 40.
not even top 100, probably top 20.
Okay, top 20 songs. So if they're only playing the top 20 songs,
That's why you hear him so much. The same.
you're gonna hear the same songs over and over and over again,
Yeah.
Frequently.
and
Yeah.
frequently. And then on top of that, the DJs don't get to pick the music. It's all up
Program
on the
director.
screen.
Program director.
Yeah,
Program.
it's so. I mean,
I
Geno
like
have
that.
no purpose, no. I'm just here to talk.
Yeah. What?
And hit
and,
a
and
button.
it, to
Well-
make sure things are going.
Well, mine is a little bit different. Actually, for Saturday and Sunday, I actually do get to pick my music.
Oh, you get to pick your music.
Saturday and Sunday.
And Doc V has actually there's two questions, but I'm gonna go with that. And Eve broke into this. It's changed from being a DJ to a radio personality. Most on air people now are radio personalities.
You
and
know
they're
what?
not-
They call them that, but they're not really personalities. Actually, most people that own stations are really, really afraid to let somebody be a personality. Because what ends up happening when people become personalities in the city that they live in, they have to pay them. So that actually,
Yeah, that makes sense.
They have
That makes sense
That makes sense.
because they become a brand.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So they're not, yeah.
Yeah, but with that, and me and E talked about this. We was waiting for you to get on the stage on because you say we don't own anything. I remember when WJFX or Foxy was transitioning to Hot 107.9, and the company had brought them in and they said they're going to change your format. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. E, what happened on that fateful
Hey,
day?
my question is the 12-hour Tupac rant.
Okay.
Is that what happened? Because everybody don't know. So
tell
that
them what
day,
happened.
He said the 12-hour.
12-hour Tupac. One song.
One song.
One
Locked
song for
himself in
12
the
hours.
studio.
Who was doing? What was going on?
Geno.
He locked himself in
So
the studio.
my question
for-
is, what brought you to do that?
Actually, I didn't do that. The guy who brought the station, he had actually come in like Wednesday I think it was Friday when we did that. He'd come in Wednesday. He goes, what we're going to do is Friday morning, I think it was at 6 o'clock, we're going to start playing Tupac, and we're not going to stop playing. I think it was Saturday afternoon when it stopped. It may have been Monday, actually, to be honest with you. I'm thinking about it. It may have played over the weekend, too. And it wasn't just me. I actually did it for whatever my shift. I think I did it to noon, and then someone else came in. Because we didn't really talk. We just played the song.
No, you
Yeah,
didn't
y'all
talk.
didn't say a word.
Yeah, we just
So-
played the song.
So it's a myth that you
Wait.
locked yourself in the studio.
Yeah. But the reason he did that was
wasn't-
because when he came in, the people that worked there, he was firing. So he fired everybody. Because actually I was on the air and this police officer knocked on the door. He goes, hey, I'm supposed to be here. I'm like, for what? He goes, I don't know. He said, they asked me to be here this morning at 6. So he comes in. I'm talking to him, hanging out. And then as he was firing people, he would take them outside to their car. But yeah, that's why they were there. That's what they were doing. He did that to make that transition.
I like my story better.
Oh, okay. So,
I mean,
that's right.
and honestly, the story was you locked yourself in the studio
see,
for 12 hours and played Tupac one song all day long.
what was the one song, please?
I'm trying to remember what it was.
How do you want it?
No,
it was this.
it wasn't.
It was the way it is.
Yeah, the way it is.
The
Yeah,
way it
that's
is.
what
Okay.
The way it is. Yep.
So I mean, I remember listening to it. I'm like, they keep playing this song over and out. Trying to
That's
change.
crazy.
Yeah, you trying to. Hey, what's
You
going
didn't
on?
hear no voices. You didn't hear
Yeah,
anything.
nothing.
Nothing. You just heard
So
Tupac.
it was at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, Geno Burgess locked himself in the studio because he
Now
didn't want to
see-
leave.
now see, I'm so
I mean,
glad-
and it's good. It's good to get the real
yeah,
story
the real
out.
story.
So,
yes, we have the voice in the house because they have been saying this and telling me this about Geno, and that this is one thing that stands out. So I'm glad that's been
Yeah.
debunked. So we know the truth now.
Yeah, and if you just joined us, this is Voice of the People, and we have one of the voices, and as E so eloquently said earlier, the first voice of the city,
Yes.
Geno Burgess. So, but
like
Geno, that goes into the question where there were changes. When did it stop changing? Because remember, Cool Radio, and when did we stop owning our brands and our radios?
Actually, when Louis sold the station to Russ Oasis, was his name. He was from Miami, a white guy. That's when we stopped owning here. Radio One is actually still active in Indianapolis. They own a couple of stations there. Hoosier 96, TLC, a couple of others too. But yeah, here we don't we don't own anything. So we don't really get to make a whole bunch of decisions on music. We don't really actually do anything with the station, honestly. Yeah, you don't really actually, I know they have that Win Steve Harvey's Money promotion going on by $1,000 twice a day, but that actually is playing across the country. So people from everywhere are trying to win that. So that's why you don't hear a lot of winners from here.
Yeah, and that's what I would say, because I remember, and I've known you for years. I remember we did the Foxy 5th anniversary party. They don't have things like that. I remember we had Joe Little here. We had Tony Thompson, who just went solo from High Five, UNV. We had a bunch of people here, but after that, there was no more community radio.
Right. And I remember when you used to do live remotes a lot. And so they don't even do live remotes anymore, do they? I mean, you don't ever hear it.
Every now and actually, the only thing we do is when those people come selling meat. I don't know if you guys have heard that.
Oh, wow.
They go hang out at the mall and they sell like those 40-pound boxes of meat.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
okay, well, we need to do. Okay, that's another story.
That's crazy.
We got to change some things
Well,
here with the
biggest
music.
the biggest part of it, I know you influence a lot of the DJs that was on air at the time. You had the Keys, you had Woodrow, those kind of cats. Because if it wasn't for you, honestly, they wouldn't have been able to step their foot in that door. And
actually, they might have been able to.
No, they couldn't, because the thing about it, you bust the door open. You actually open up the wall for them to walk in.
Okay.
And you have to
just accept it.
Yeah, you have to accept that. Honestly, I mean, it have to be somebody that literally say, "Okay, I'm in." They see how good I am, and other people is coming behind you. They ain't got no other choice but to let them in. You have to understand that. I mean, I grew up listening to you.
Yeah.
So before we get Geno blushing and things like that,
I don't
feeling
blush. I don't
good.
blush.
He's so humble.
He's trying to be so humble, but
no,
at the
but
end of the day,
that's what I know about
You have
it.
to understand. You have to accept the fact that you literally broke a wall in for all the other ones.
Well, I'll say that I've always enjoyed listening to Geno, and he has done many commercials for me with Optimistic. So definitely a voice that I enjoy hearing. But I want to ask you some things, because we were talking about the good and evil, the evil that's amongst us nowadays. And so obviously when we talk about Satan and the prince of the airwaves, we mentioned that last night. A lot of times we think about music. We think about music leaders, worship leaders in the churches, and how sometimes, I'm not going to, don't even think it, but sometimes people are, they go, a lot of antics, and it's from a whole different realm. But talk to me, how do you feel about the power of music and the effect it has on our minds and hearts and our actions?
Oh, it's
today?
huge. It's huge. It's huge. That's why they really aren't happy if we control it. If we actually are programming it and saying, well, we need to play this, we need to do this, we need to do this. How crazy is that? I had a guy. Okay, I know a guy who is actually a consultant. Most radio stations have a consultant. Doesn't live anywhere around here.
Right.
But he actually comes in and helps you program your station. When the people that own the station, because they sold it, the station actually sold it. New people will take over at the end of this month. But when they actually took over the station, they were struggling. Actually, they're still struggling to sell the station, sell commercials. COVID had something to do with that, but they were struggling before that. So, but anyway, he actually told me, he goes, "Hey, Geno, if you can get me in there as the consultant, I will come with paying clients to come advertise on the station, but they have to make you program director." I said, "I'll bring it to them. We'll see what they say." They weren't interested. The guy they had was from Atlanta, Jim Richards, white guy, and so that's why what we play is what we play.
Yeah. And with that, I think Adams Radio Group, right? That was the last owners.
The Adams, it's still going to be Adams Radio. They didn't change the name, just for new people to go.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Here's the difference, and I agree with what Doc V said. First of all, the quality of music, or the dignity in music, let me say that, has faded. where you say used to be we didn't hear certain words, certain terms, certain innuendos on the radio, but now they're saying everything on the radio. I mean, how is that? I mean, how is that getting past the FCC first?
Because
and
actually
foremost?
the FCC doesn't. They don't police anymore. They don't care really anymore. That actually is when there actually was a law that passed probably at the end of the 90s. The fairness, because for a long time I don't know if you guys get involved with politics. For a long time they said that the radio and TV weren't fair.
Yes.
To Republicans, it was like it's liberal. There's a liberal lean. There's a liberal bias. Yeah. So they decided that they were going to start policing. That's actually how Fox was able to come on, OAN, all those kind of that just kind of make up stuff. Yeah, that right. They don't police it anymore, so that's why.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So in other words, we can get on the air and do what we want to do and not have a problem with the FCC saying, "Hey, we're gonna ban you."
You could. Well, they don't ban you. They fine you.
We'll fine you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. So as far as the censorship, then that's how come you can say to me, you can say words that you didn't used to be able to say on the radio.
Yeah, that's
well,
crazy.
And you know something. Honestly, if you listen to, and it's so funny, and now that he said that, if you listen to the morning show with Steve Harvey or what's Smiley, your Breakfast Club, Ricky Smiley,
too, yeah.
Man, some of they just
say what they want to say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
They really do. So I mean, that makes sense now.
So you don't see this changing. I mean, as far as the censorship. So the words that they say that gets under my skin. This is what I mean.
No,
if you listen
if
to
they
the
think
radio,
it's going
it's
to make
there.
the money, they're not going to change it.
But I mean, how's that affecting our generations that's coming up? Because
Absolutely.
let's talk about
My
Lil
next
Nas
question.
X and a lot of all these other images. Not only come with the music, but you're deteriorating the moral fabric of the generations that come after that. So,
honestly, they don't care.
Is that simple?
Honestly, they don't care. Actually, for a long time, through probably the end of the '80s to probably to like 2003, all across the country, black radio was like number one in a lot of cities.
right.
I mean, like across the country.
Yes.
So then they changed the way they rated stations. That actually helped. They actually had people programming black stations, I'll say it like that, who really didn't know what they were doing. And so that I'm gonna, this is my song, this is my jam, I'm playing this. So that happened. It's like, I'm not listening to that. Okay, you know what? Who's listening to this? We're not gonna play that. So yeah, that doesn't happen anymore.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But also with Adams, like you used to, and you still do, and I want to thank you. You break local artists. The Adams Group, I mean, they didn't, give local talent. I remember when Foxy, we were always on Foxy. We all, I mean, just music. Why have we gotten away from? Because if you can't make it in your own city with the support, why don't they support the local movements or the artists in the local area?
Actually, because the groups that own the stations in the city don't see that as a revenue generator for them. Okay, I could play your music, but what's that going to do for me? I'm not going to make any money off that. I'm not going to, So yeah, that has a whole bunch to do with it. Yeah. So it's crazy, but like you said, we're still talking to Geno Burgess. I'm gonna let you go. We thank you for watching this and continue to go with us, Doc V. Go ahead.
No, I just was, I'm thinking about what you just said. So they don't care about the community in a sense, because when you say that and you have all this local talent. So if there is an up and coming artist and they want to be played on the radio station, I mean, what do they need to do? What hoops and loops do they need to jump through to get their music played?
Actually, but also if they make connections with people can get stuff on, but they may not be able to play it as frequently as you, because that's how stuff becomes hits. You hear it, like you said, 50,000 times a day.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what people say. Oh, that's my song.
So it's not a myth. If I had an artist and I need to come to the program director and slide him 1,000 and say I need you to run him.
That happens.
It's not a myth.
And actually, and what happened with it now is like I mentioned, consultants. That's how they make a whole bunch of their money.
Yeah.
The people will go take to them. Here, I'm gonna give you like $6,000. Real quick story on that. I know you guys got to go. What time we leave?
No,
Well, we
you're
got time.
good.
Go ahead.
Okay, real quick story. Guy in California, actually at a Los Angeles radio station. They were trying to get, and I remember this because the song sucked. Sorry, song sucked, but they wanted the song to get played. And they were trying to get it on in Los Angeles because if they get people in Los Angeles to play it, they'll probably play it everywhere across the country. Okay, so they went to the program director and said, "Hey, I need you to play this song. What do I need to do to get this song played?" And the guy was like, "My wife wants a house."
Wow.
So they sent him $250,000. He put the record on. He bought his wife a house, but very shortly after that, they were still policing at the time. The FCC came, and he went to jail. I think he went to jail for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my
Wow.
goodness.
What's the song? Ice Ice Baby?
No. I think it was after that. It was after that. But yeah, but it was. I think they set him up.
Oh.
I think they set him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is, Geno, and we've been talking, and we thank you. And your humbleness is one thing, but Geno, think about it. You have been a voice, a factor in this city. Many have come and many have gone. I mean, I've known you for over 30 years, and every time I've seen or encountered you, you've been on the radio. There's been changes, there's been things, but you weathered the storm. There's some that have come and go, but you're still here. And what I like about you, not only your humbleness, is your respect for the people. You have a great respect for the community and the people that you serve. And that can't be matched, other than by Geno. Because, like I say, I know some DJs, they were doing remotes at the time. You couldn't talk to them. They're celebrities in their own mind, but you had always had respect for the people in which you serve, and we thank you for the time that you have been on the air and doing service in our community.
Well, you are welcome.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to say is what I enjoy. I'm trying to remember, are you doing this on Saturdays or Sundays? But when you're doing interviews, I kind of enjoy how you go into, I don't know, I want to say the archives, and you're educating us.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes you may have one person that you're recognizing during this particular time.
That's the Saturday Spotlight.
Is that the Saturday Spotlight? Okay.
Well, I do it on Sunday too.
Okay. So, but I enjoy that, and so you're really educating, and so sometimes I'm trying to get out of the car, and I'm like, wait, I gotta wait, I gotta wait to see how you gonna finish this or whatever.
You know what's funny about that?
What?
I remember this was at Foxy. This guy came in. He was a consultant, and he was like, you have time spent listening is like, because he said when people turn you on in the morning, they leave the radio on until you go off.
True.
They don't want you to do that. They want you to play like a song. 5 minutes later, that you turn to another station, then you turn back because it counts as a new person on ratings when you come back.
Oh, wow.
So he goes, we gotta fix that. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you don't need to do the stuff that you do. Then you need to let them go away and come back. I'm like,
no,
that didn't make sense to me. Yeah, and
No.
we never implemented.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So, I mean, my question is this. Like Stat said, you stood the test of time in the radio industry in Fort Wayne. How did you do that?
You know what? I actually did. I actually studied it. And it was interesting because I'm not going to say a name, but I had a person come to me and goes, oh, because he came in when I was doing my show one day, and I had like because I have like all these billboards and stuff up, because I have like stuff to talk about. And I think a lot of people think that when you do radio, you kind of just walk in and off the top of your head, you're just flowing and just coming to you and you're just doing it. It doesn't work like that. Most people do like hours and hours worth of show prep. That's what it's called. And so you have stuff to talk about. And then when you don't have stuff to talk about, you don't talk.
Yeah.
You play music.
Play music. Well, Geno, we have to have you back again. Time goes fast, and you've been so educational, and you told us a lot. But I've heard that you dispelled my myth because I lived in that myth, though. But
You really
we're gonna have you back,
really did.
and we thank you for joining us. We thank you
Thank
for
you,
watching
Geno.
us. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Geno. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
everybody
You guys are
here.
welcome.
But as we
Thank you.
thank you again, as we get ready to leave our people, what do we always say?
Always protect your mind.
Thank you. Have a good night.
In your ears.